EFF leader Julius Malema has concluded briefing the media on the Central Command Team meeting. Malema says they will be heading to court over the South African Reserve Bank report on Phala Phala. Newzroom Afrika Ziniko Mhlaba is there and joins us live. Ziniko, a lot coming out of that presser with Julius Malema. In fact, he's called out the Reserve Bank governor in the process.
Yes, that's correct, Hugo. A lot was said by the Economic Freedom Fighters leader, Mr. Julius Malema, commenting on various issues, especially the topical issues that are making headlines currently in the southern African region, but also here in South Africa. One of those things that came out was that issue of the Phala Phala report, which was conducted by the South African Reserve Bank. Well, the Economic Freedom Fighters does not believe that the South African Reserve Bank did justice in terms of investigating or probing that particular investigation. However, what was more interesting is how the Economic Freedom Fighters framed their comment towards that report. Mr. Malema saying, actually, we must not just look at broadly at the South African Reserve Bank. Let's actually name the head of that particular institution, because that's the person who should be held accountable, making comparison, saying that, well, when we deal with issues coming out of the Office of the Public Protector, we do not just talk about the institution in its entirety. We talk about the actual head, making references that when we deal with the Office of the Public Protector, we name the head of that institution, say, making an example about Advocate Galega, saying that, well, if we need to talk about the outcomes of any investigation, especially when it comes to some of these key institutions, such as the Public Protector and the South African Reserve Bank, we should then name the heads of those institutions, because those are the people who are responsible for communicating or who are heading those particular investigations. So we were saying that actually the current Reserve Bank Governor, Mr. Lisija Khanyago, should actually take responsibility, saying that actually his actions and this particular report specifically does actually destroy the credibility of that institution, but also his own legacy, saying that he's positioned himself to take up that position of being a finance minister, just as the former governor did when he did. So that's one of the things that the EFF really came out gun blazing, especially when it comes to targeting the governor of the Reserve Bank.
Ziniko, he also took aim at the ANC and criticized their organizational skills, and in the process indicated that they were recalling 210 of their officials for failing to organize buses for their recent 10th anniversary celebrations. Speak to us a little bit more about this.
So you remember, Hugo, that the Economic Freedom Fighters were celebrating their 10th anniversary celebration in Johannesburg at the FNB Stadium, where they had to fill the over 80,000 capacity stadium, which is the FNB Stadium. So the strategy or the plan was that public representatives across the country, across different spheres of government, whether you're a member of parliament, whether you're an MPL or just a local councillor, will be responsible for making sure that you transport the members from your own constituency. So each member was expected to organize a bus so that the members of the EFF from that particular constituency will be able to attend those celebrations. So the 210 people who have been now recalled from their public offices are people who failed for several reasons to make sure that they fulfill that responsibility of making sure that they organize transport for those people in their own constituencies. So Julius Malema, the leader of the Freedom Fighters, saying that if you cannot organize a bus, if you cannot just deliver a simple mandate, how can you be trusted with the delivering services for people in your own community? So saying that the party took a very, very conscious decision. They thought about it very well, and they're actually believing that it's not just a serious not a serious punishment, because you will still retain your membership as an EFF member. So that's one of the positions that they took. However, they also talk about the issue of how the party is viewing how political parties are positioning themselves against the Economic Freedom Fighters, saying that actually the Democratic Alliance, you remember that, Hugo, during the conference of the Democratic Alliance here in Gauteng, the leader of the DA, John Steenhuisen and of course Helen Zille say that the Economic Freedom Fighters is their enemy number one. So the EFF today just said they are welcoming that declaration of war. They're actually saying that we accept that declaration. We are not going to pull any punches against it. They will make sure that will not allow the Democratic Alliance to have the majority of numbers when it comes to governing provinces or even nationally. So saying that now they'll do their level best to ensure that the numbers of the ANC and the numbers of the Economic Freedom Fighters do ensure that the DA does not see a light of day when it comes to governing any sphere of government.
Ziniko Mhlaba coming to us on the back of the Central Command team meeting, press briefer done by the EFF and Julius Malema.